While Ryan pulls up the hand history, I have not seen this hand yet because, as you may have seen, I don't like to look at it before. I've heard it's crazy. I've heard it's crazy.
Okay.
So did we not tell him what hand this is?
Fine. Does look good to you?
Yeah, I can see this. Yeah, I mean, it's burned into my memory. I don't need to see.
Yeah, I was about to say you probably know all the bet sizings, the whole thing.
Yeah.
What's the background of this hand?
So it's on the live stream. It's the 2510. I bought in for 5,000. I'm up to 12, so I'm up 7,000 before this hand. So it's going well. One of the biggest pots I'd won so far was kind of a hero call situation where I'd had top pair and I'd raised the flop in multi-way. A guy had then raised me on the turn. I call, and then I check and he jumped river and I call just with top pair unimproved and a blocker to the nuts, and it was good. So I got my cape on already. I haven't quite taken the cape off. And then this hand happens. I'm feeling good. I'm the big winner on stream. The last stream, I was the big winner of the stream as well. So I'm like feeling like an absolute G. And then this hand happens, and I feel very silly afterwards. But go ahead.
Lots of confidence going into it.
Sounds like we got some spoilers here. I have a feeling how this hand might go. But all right, let's get into it.
So straddle comes to you here under the gun 2, and you choose to open to 60. It's not a 3-bet because it's a straddle, but. Is that a pretty standard open size in this game?
Yeah,
pretty big.
Yeah. I was just going 3x. People were actually going bigger. This was on the smaller side.
And now, was there an ante in the pot? Because I saw it was 2, 5, 10, but there was like more. It was like 37.
Oh wait, sorry. I made it 6. No, yeah, it's 2, 5, 10, 20 this hand. So
okay. That makes so much more sense. I was like, oh yeah, so standard. Just made it 6x from early position off a straddle, not even a 2. I was like, that's a massive raise. This makes a lot more sense.
So there was a 20, it was a 3x, and I'm pretty sure I was hijack actually. I think I was one further around.
Okay,
all right, gotcha.
So it folds around to our dear friend Mr. Bond on the button. Any notes on Bond so far in the stream? I think you hadn't really tangoed with him to this point.
So he'd been on both of the streams that I was on, so I assumed somewhat of a reg, and people knew who he was. And he'd seemed one of the more solid players, but I had seen him so we had the stream on the big screen right next to us, so it's just 15 minutes behind. We're seeing everyone's hands, and a few times in the previous stream and this stream, I'd seen him just like blow up randomly and just like cold 4-bet someone with like 6-2 suited and stuff. But like he seemed to be like a capable player that knew what he was doing, and he sometimes just did things like that for like stream entertainment value, I guess.
Wow. Okay.
Interesting. It sounds like a good game.
Yeah.
All right.
4-bet for image with 6-2 suited. That's a good plan.
So does he 4-bet us?
Well, I mean, it's a 3-bet.
It's a 3-bet.
Oh, 3-bet. Okay, gotcha.
200.
That's what I meant.
Which, again, given 5, 10, 20, makes perfect sense for his sizing here as well. I guess you could have gone a little bigger because we're pretty stupid deep, but perfectly passable.
Yeah, we're not going anywhere.
And exactly, it's going to fold back around to us. I don't think there's anything to do here with 10's butt call.
Funny enough, I was actually tempted to 4-bet out of position here.
So that's an interesting thing is he does discuss what should we be 4-betting here facing a 3-bet from the button? Is it just
against Bond? I think like Jack plus and like ace queen, and then maybe like a couple of bluffs like ace 5 suited or something like that.
Right. I tend to agree with you there. Okay. I mean, yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable construction for 4-betting range.
Yep.
So we do have to put in the flat here, and we're gonna go off to flop. 5 deuce 9, 2 diamonds. We do have the 10 of diamonds in hand, and I assume you're going to check and flow, which you do, and goes over to Bond, who sticks in about a half pot bet. What are you thinking?
Yeah. So I'm thinking he's doing this with his full range, and the sizing is just a factor of the texture rather than anything else. Whereas, like, if it was like a king 3-2, he would have bet 1/3. I was tempted to raise here and just clean up my equity, get rid of the overcards, charge the flush draws, etc. But decided, obviously, he's going to have a range advantage still here. Like, we're going to have 9s more, and we're going to have 5s and 2s more, but like he's still got all the other pairs and everything that I don't have as much that I would have 4-bet. Like I said, I would have 4-bet jacks plus, so we're kind of top of my pairs range here that isn't nines. So I ended up just flatting, hoping for like a safe turn.
And just having the
go ahead, Bryce. Go ahead.
Just having the 10 of diamonds affect you at all, or not really, because you don't really expect that many combos of the tens that will affect this hand.
Yeah, it makes me more inclined to call rather than raise, because we have the backdoor diamonds, and it's just a little bit more likely that I can call across some turns. Whereas if I had like black tens and a diamond comes, it kind of makes my hand a little bit dust if he bets again.
Yep. Okay. I completely agree. What were you saying?
I'd rather raise with like black tens, for example.
Yeah, I agree.
I tend to agree with all of your reasons for flatting, because I agree with what you're saying, that with this sizing on this board, he's betting his entire 3-betting range here, which is going to contain a lot of air sometimes, and 2 diamond hands, things like that. So I don't think it's 100%. I think for the reasons you just stated, it's more worth it to call than it is to raise here, because we're going to get rid of a lot of those 2 overcard hands that we're beating and that don't have great equity against us. They're like, what, 28, 30%?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So we stick in the call, and we're off to a turn. Comes off the King of Hearts. Kind of a yuck turn card.
Not a fun turn.
We check, and Bond goes for a $1,400, a little under 2x, like 1.7x pot bet.
Yeah,
Weird.
But still, it's a WTF, right? Like, why have you done this? Yeah.
This is amazing.
This is where it gets very weird. Yeah.
I was spending some time in Equilab this morning looking at this, and I was trying to think of like what hands choose to just polarize the absolute bejesus out of this turn.
Because it makes no sense. Like, if you've got kings, why would you want me to?
It makes no sense.
Want me to fold?
Right. Like, the only case in which it makes sense is if he has a hand like aces and is targeting like a king queen or like maybe king jack, because we still, and that's still really thin because that's so little combos, and we still have way more sets than he does. Yes, he has pocket kings, but
but you don't want to do this with pocket kings. Like, why?
Exactly.
Everything, like,
unless we have exactly pocket nines, like.
Yeah, exactly. And the worst thing about this is flush draws now have to fold.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
No, it's
like
awful.
if I have
absolutely awful.
if I have 10 jack of diamonds, it's humongous draw, and I'm probably not getting the price I have to fold because I'm not going to get the. So it's like, literally, what are you trying to do here? Literally, you see on the stream. Yeah, so you see on the stream, I'm sat backwards on my chair with my hands like this, and I literally went like, what? Under my mask, I'm like, what? Is this a misclick? Like, did he put an extra 500 in by accident? Like, what is this? And I just couldn't work it out at all. And I just kind of went like, oh, fuck it, call. Let's put some chips in.
Okay.
Well, at least you didn't decide to do a wonky raise here. When you said this, it was okay. I mean, I think it's so weird that I understand the weirdness maybe calling, but I think just given that river, he's just gonna bomb so frequently. There are so many like bad river cards that even if he's bluffing stupidly with like an ace queen, like no, I don't even know. I can't even name weird bluffs that should be doing this. Like he's gonna bomb and he's still gonna put us in a horrible spot. So like while this makes so little sense, I just think we don't have a hand that can really improve by this river that we can be calling with. Like I feel like I'd much rather have a hand like you kind of mentioned, like a 10 jack of diamonds. While you said like that doesn't make sense, it folds it out. But I would prefer that hand over pocket tens, I think, because while we maybe block some of the hands we might want him to be bluffing with, we have the ability to improve on river. And I'm not saying this is a horrible call by any means, because like you said, it literally makes no sense. But I would just
I'm trying to work out to
have other hands.
Work out the range, and my thought process was aces isn't going to do this. It doesn't make sense because you're just going to fold out like the queens, the jack tens. Kings isn't going to do it. Ace king isn't going to do it. So I was like, right, so that's all the value is gone. Like maybe he has nines and he just thinks that's a great card to just go massive on. But like, if none of the value is really doing that, then it's left only bluffs, and I'm doing great. So the bluffs I'm thinking is like, I don't know, ace four, ace three of spades, hearts, clubs, like the wheel aces that just have a gut shot, and then maybe he was planning to like blast a diamond if it comes in and rep it. Like queen jack
So
of diamonds, ace queen of diamonds.
If a jack or queen of diamonds rolls off, can you find the call on this river? I understand what you're saying and thinking that he has those bluffs, and I think those are absolutely possible. But what rivers are we calling on, and what rivers are we folding on? I guess is my question.
Exactly. Okay, so the rivers I'm going to fold on a diamond because I think he has some flush draws in there as well. But the rivers I'm calling on are just bricks because I just do not believe he has anything.
Okay.
If it's an ace, I'm folding. If it's a diamond, I'm folding. And pretty much the plan was if he does, I'm going to check on the river if he does, and if he goes for it, I'm probably going to call because that's the logic on the turn.
That's sound logic, and I think that absolutely if you're calling this 1.6x overpot, if it freaking bricks out and you fold this, you are setting so much money on fire on this turn. So obviously I know you're a competent player, but I'm just ensuring that like you do have a sound game plan, which you do.
I had a plan.
You might be wrong.
And so all the people I've talked to so far that like I respect the opinion of have said I would probably fold the turn, but then once you call the turn and then the river that comes, you now have to call the river.
Exactly, 100%, and they're absolutely
so
right.
you'll see the river now anyway, and it's a pretty good call.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
so that's the thing is now it removes the 9-9 that we were saying was his like weird value bet on the turn. You know that would.
And as well, I think this is actually a pretty good card for my range.
I agree, 100%.
Than him. So then I check, and he like still goes for it. And
that's so weird.
It's an overbet. It's an overbet. And shoves again. I'm like, what the? And then I'm like, okay, what hands are comfortable enough to do this? I was like, maybe even aces isn't loving life now in ace king. So I'm like, what? Are you saying you literally have kings and decided to bet 2x pot pretty much on the turn with the nuts? Is that what happened? So I'm just not buying it at all. I'm like, absolutely not. You've got some random trash. You've got ace high or queen high. That's what's happened here. I have the best hand. Flick.
Yeah, interesting question. What 3-bet hands do you beat here? I mean, we already mentioned that in the being some wheel aces.
Yeah, so like the wheel aces, the like queen jacks, maybe like 10 jack suited. That I mean, I know I super hard block that, but there'll still be some the spades and the clubs, and like ace queen of diamonds, ace jack of diamonds, etc.
Based on you prefacing this hand, I feel like he's just so nutted, it's not even funny. So does he have pocket nines or pocket kings? What's signal?
No, this is the even sicker thing. He doesn't have those hands. Show him the hand.
Does he have like deuces?
On the hand.
So tail tag.
Oh my god.
What a weird line.
Exactly.
With the ace of diamonds in hand, no less.
Yeah.
What a sicko.
So I've never seen this. Literally, like in my entire poker playing life, I've never seen someone take this line. And I was literally just like, oh, right, yeah, fair enough. Top pair's good, yeah.
So you got up immediately after this. I mean, did you just huge pot? I would assume this was something that you had to take a lap and kind of get your head back together before you sat back down.
Yeah.
I shot you a DM right after. I'm sure your phone was exploding.
Yeah. I just kind of walked around and just needed a minute. I wasn't mad. I was just confused and like I've never seen that before. I needed to like just compute in my head a little bit what he did. And as I was leaving, as he was like scooping the chips, he said something along the lines of, like all the weird things that Pio throws out sometimes. And I was like,
all the weird things
throw that out.
Pio
solver throws out. I was like, it's not this. This isn't what it would do. I was like, I don't use Pio much. I only have like secondhand knowledge of it from what my friends tell me the outputs are and stuff. But like, I know this is not one.
Right.
I mean, if someone wants to run this and let me know, like, feel free. But like, this does not seem GTO approved to me. Don't know about you guys.
No, I just think, what the fuck is he targeting? Because most players aren't even going to call him down there with tens. Like, what is he targeting? I seriously can't. Even a hands like king queen, like, it just makes no sense. It's just so thin that he's lighting money on fire most of the time because.
It just the reason this is the other thing that I've said to people is if he just bets like half pot to 2/3 on the turn, I just fold because it's a bad card. And,
literally.
And the same on the river. If he goes like a value sizing on the river, I'm just like, okay, I believe now that you have like ace king or king queen or something.
Yeah, if he goes like 35% pot.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I go fold. It's just the fact he like went huge on the turn and then overbet the river as well. And he's saying he has kings or like quads. So there's like three or four combos, and I didn't think that he would do that with those hands. So I just can't find the value hand in my head, and I'm like, whatever, call. And he says ace king, man.
Commentators lost their minds.
Yeah, they scream.
Oh,
so
that's the one. That's the one. Oh yes, no, I did
when
see that somewhere.
Call, yeah.
Okay,
I did a one chip call. I was so confident I was good. Like I worked it out in my head for a while. I did time, and I was so confident I was gonna just throw 100 chip, waiting for the money to come. And then I was like, oh shit, I have to count out 5,000 now. Oh no, I lose. Oh, how embarrassing! I had like an absolute tower of chips. I had to just like send across.
Wow, that's such a good hand. I mean, I would be so interested in interviewing him just about this hand specifically.
Please.
Yeah, you get that guy on here. But yeah, appreciate you coming on and being able to be vulnerable about this hand. And I mean, I don't think you played it poorly. I just think he played it so interestingly. But yeah, very much appreciated the interview, and hopefully can get together with you tomorrow. That'd be so sick. But thank you so much for coming on. Thank you for endorsing our podcast. We cannot wait to continue to watch you grow, continue to see you just throughout all these casinos. So thank you so much, Sam, for coming on today.
Thank you. Good chat.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah.
See you, bud. Alrighty, so we have 2 more hands for you guys in the next 10 or 15 minutes here that we've got. Ryan, you want to give the intro? Tom Bacon asked, do you think your call down with King Queen in the earlier hand played into Bond's line? That is an interesting question that I wish we had him on here for. But good luck on TCH tonight, by the way, Sam, if you're still watching. But alrighty, so Ryan the Rock has King Jack suited in what I assume, yes, this is my home game. Let's see how he rocks it.
Minimum defense free.
We have not mixed up in a big pot in like
you and I in like a
since that massive pot where I had the massive draw and you said running once.
Yeah. We did. We went over that.
That was like a month ago. Yeah.
So yes, we are playing in the 1-2 home game, which is playing right after this. DM Bad B Bryce to get in the game if you'd like. And we're gonna see 2 limpers. And then it comes to me here with King Jack suited in the hijack, and I bump it up to 16. There is also an ante in play. So if I go back here, the pot is 8.8. There's a 20-cent ante per person. So the pot's already a little bit more inflated. Yep. That's hence why I go for the 16 sizing instead of...
I think that's fine. Yeah. Especially because you have some sticky players both in the blinds, as I don't know who Under the Gun is, but...
Right.
Yeah.
And it folds around to Chappie in the small blind, who puts in the 3-bet up to 48. So, yeah, I mean, it's a small blind 3-bet versus a hijack open. There's a decent number of hands that are in here. King Jack suited is a defend versus this 3-bet 100% of the time. So I don't really think there's much of a decision here.
I disagree. I do not think that it is a continue 100% of the time. Obviously, I think you're saying off of the stack depth, but I think against certain players, like if Jim Cross bumps it up from the small blind, that is not a call with King Jack suited. I disagree. I'm folding that.
Interesting point.
Because also when you know he's going pot, you do not have the equity to continue when he's then going to barrel 96 bigs off of his stack depth. So while I do agree that it is a continue in this situation, you can say near 100% of the time, I think it's worth noting that we should avoid speaking in absolutes.
True. But I think when Jim Cross cold calls in the low jack, then it becomes a 100% defend.
That is very fair.
Right.
We have that. That's I will give you that.
So we stick in the call. And we go to a pretty favorable flop of 8-Jack-8 full rainbow. And Chappie opts to bet here for kind of an awkward sizing. I was a little surprised to see Chappie go this big.
I'm shocked.
Yeah, I mean, like, I get it. It's multi-way, it's 3-way. But, I mean, when he bets this big, like, if Jim Cross has no choice but all in or fold, and I'm stack that can even.
I think this makes his range really interesting because I don't think he's ever doing this with a hand like pocket 9s, pocket 10s all that often. Honestly, I think this is more weighted towards either 2 overs or just value. I don't think he's going to be having like pocket jacks or obviously just barreling, and we block that. So like I think he's really weighted towards like ace king, ace queen hand, because I mean I think ace jack is a completely reasonable 3-bet for him here. But I think this is more leaning towards 2 overs than anything else, and that's why I'm surprised he went so big. But at the same time, I guess he's trying to fold out even a hand maybe like jack 10 suited, and not on this street necessarily because top pair's not folding. But if he continues to barrel and show such strength, a lot of players might fold. I mean, that's just my analysis given knowing Chappie. I don't know what happens in this hand, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think this bet sizing should have set off a few more red flags in my mind. But yes, I agree with you that we can narrow his range now to just be basically hands that contain 2 overs with backdoor equity.
Yeah, it has some sort of equity. We don't expect him to be barreling with, I agree. Right. I mean, that's not the wokest analysis, but pretty obvious.
Yeah, it's not the wokest, but it'll do. So we end up putting in the call here, and we're headed off to...
I think there's just no other decision here ever with King Jack.
297 in the pot, 213 back. So, not substantially less than pot back. And he goes for the rip here.
Wow.
Looking back, I do think that King Jack is actually a fold, because we have to think about what hands he's gonna do this with. And I don't think that he's doing this with anything like worse than King Jack, For
value, or you don't think he's ever doing it?
I don't think he's betting Queen Jack. I don't think he's jamming Queen Jack here. I don't think he's jamming.
Okay, so you're saying a showdown hand. You're saying a showdown hand wouldn't jam for value. You do think he's capable of bluffs, though, because the way you said it almost sounds like he's incapable. If he has ace king, ace queen of diamonds, or ace queen of spades, ace king, ace queen of spades, don't you think he's just ripping it here?
Well, that's a good question.
I'm ripping here all day long with ace king, ace queen of spades. If this turn, all day long.
Now, but that's the question: are there enough combinations of flush draws to make up for the fact that I'm behind all of the over pairs and the better jack?
So let's run the math.
Yeah. Okay. So there's queens through aces. We block a king. So what? That's 6 combos of queens and jacks. 4 combos of kings. And another 6 combos of aces. Yeah. So what's that? 18. 22 combos of over pairs.
And what spades are we're giving him ace king, ace queen. Are we giving him king queen of spades? Probably.
Yeah, I think you give him king queen.
Okay. So it sounds like he only has a few bluff combos that we're putting him on. I mean, again, do we ever expect him to show up with a hand like 9-10 of spades that he just barrels or 3-bets out of the small blind? Are we giving him that, or do we think that's too loose for Chappie?
I think that's
okay. So that's one more combo, but it sounds like given the price we're getting, we have to risk 233 to win a pot of how much is in there?
530. So we're gonna win like 750 ish.
Okay.
213 to win like 750.
Okay.
A little bit better. Yeah, getting better than 3-1 on a call here. But it sounds like you don't think is this in our minimum defense? Do we have to defend King Jack here?
I do not think I absolutely think we don't have to do anything, and I very much am much more of an exploitable player than I think you are. I think you very much like going by the book, running it through the solvers, etc. I think facing this player, he is absolutely capable of bluffing here. But I think given recent factors that I know about him, I don't think he's going to be spazzing off with a hand that doesn't have incredible equity. So even if he does have a hand, like we mentioned, I just don't think it's worth it because he's nowhere near dead. So not only we may get it in ahead, but we're getting it ahead in a situation in which we're going to lose 30% of the time or whatever. So I think this is a laydown. I think this is a laydown. I do think that against certain players and certain competent players, like if this is against me, I think you can be calling I think you could be calling me because I think I have more bluffs than what we mentioned.
You have
if I have ace, even if I have ace king, if I have like one spade in my hand, if I have ace king off with a spade, I'm doing that. Whereas I don't think he is.
Right.
So even just having that simple, I mean, I didn't mean that hand because that blocks, but you know what I mean.
Yes, exactly. That removes a lot of
confidence. You know what I mean? Yeah. So yeah, I think this is a fold, and it sounds like you flicking the call and are wrong. I don't remember this hand.
No, I do. I flick in the call here because that's exactly was my thought process was, you know, is this a hand that I can be folding here for the price that I'm getting? But I agree with you. Given how he is in a 3-betting, like he only has like a 3% 3-bet percentage, I tend to agree that he has such a tight range here that it's just not
absolutely.
And we are wrong. He does have pocket kings. But I agree. He can't. Some percentage of the time I'm going to be right there, but I just don't think it's enough.
Yeah. No, I agree with that. Well, thank you, buddy. All right, we've got one more for you guys. Here
from the Boski 15K guarantee special. Big shout outs to ACR. They sent me a mask. I feel like Ryan DePaulo. I'm the coolest kid on the block now.
And shout out Ryan DePaulo for taking a picture with me. He's a nice guy. It was really funny. The first time I saw him, I like made eye contact with him, and I go parkour, and he just turns his head and winks at me and walks away. And I was like, that is the most legend.
DePaulo thing I've ever heard.
That was really funny. But
so got you a wink. Oh my god!
Yeah, got to talk to him during the break, so that was good. But all right, let's get into the hand.
Yeah. So we are playing here in the Boski special. A couple of the ACR sponsored streamers have started to get daily tournaments named after them. And our dear friend, Jeff Boski, previous guest on the podcast, has one. I cashed in this tournament. I made it basically just a little bit into the money and was 40 bigs deep and busted in a flip ace king versus tens, which was a bit of a heartbreaker. But we're here. We're just into the money now. So I'm sitting on 33 bigs. We've just entered the money. That's the context behind this hand. We're under the gun here with king, queen off 33 bigs. We make a pretty standard 2.2 open to 1800. It will fold around here all the way to the big blind who makes a call.
Okay.
Pretty fine and standard pre-flop here.
Yeah, I have nothing to say. Let's see a flop.
Exactly. And we'll go right to the flop. Comes up ace, queen, 3, full rainbow. And Fire Lord Sora. What an interesting tag.
Does this hand lead out? What the fuck?
Donk.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay. There's no point in raising. Obviously, this is a board that's way better for us, but absolutely no point in raising. We're just calling all day. Obviously, this is very weird of him to be doing, but ranges are still pretty wide. Do you think this is value? More so, do you think this is like a weird ace-7 going for value? Or, I mean, not value. Yeah, that is what I mean. Do you think he's going for really weird value in his mind? Or do you think that, yeah, what do you make of this bet?
Yeah, hard. That's the thing. I really, really struggle to construct donk leading ranges because it just isn't something that I do myself.
No, yeah, it's so interesting because normally I thought they were for value. So like on ace queen 3 board, pocket threes, for example, might lead.
Right.
But now I realize that a hand like queen 9 offsuit, I see people leading and I'm like, what are you doing betting second pair, bad kicker? And they're just trying to fold out people. And also I think they think it looks so strong. But now that I realize what they're doing, they're losing so much money to me. It's stupid. But yeah, anyways, you just have to flick in the call here and see how the turn changes.
Here's the thing is, and Bart Hansen brought this up. If this were perhaps ace queen 3 with the 3 of diamonds, or maybe ace queen of diamonds,
we would feel more comfortable. Is that what you're saying?
Well, no, I would say that the donk leading range contains a lot of pair plus. You know.
Oh, 100%. Obviously, yes, yeah, 100%, 100%. Yeah, I agree. No, I completely agree with that.
We flick in the call. Turn rolls off the 5 of hearts. Pretty blank turn. I think the plan here is just a call. I didn't know what to do if he checked me. I think I was just going to check back.
I think that's totally fine for pot control.
Ace-X, right. But he does opt to continue here for, again, small sizing.
I'm still not folding.
4K or into 8K.
Not folding, not raising. I'm calling.
Yeah,
not much to say.
It's just flat weird. And I think my thought process here now was that I can't really think of many rivers that I'm going to be super duper uncomfortable with. You know, like I really just think I'm going to be calling off on most.
I think like a jack or a 10. I think he's pretty ace 3, ace jack, ace 10 heavy, but I still don't know why he decided to bet it. And maybe trying to get weird value from like pocket kings or like our king queens that will just be sticky. So I think this is weighted weirdly more so towards value, which I think you probably agree with. But there's just no way I'm ever going anywhere, especially for this price ever. So I'm calling.
Okay, good to hear. Good to hear your thought process there as well.
Yeah, never
so
folding
in the call. And the river rolls off, probably the best river card we could have seen in the King of Diamonds.
Okay, I'm not folding. I'm not raising. He has 2 pairs as well. I'm just snap calling whatever he bets.
And he goes for 7K.
I'm not raising.
So that was really going to be my chief question was, can you raise this jam all in for value?
I don't think you should. I don't think you should.
Okay, and why?
Because I think he has too many 2-pair combos. I mean, he's got ace 3s. I don't expect him to have ace 5 that much because I don't really expect him to be raising flop. He could maybe have ace queen depending on how tight you've been under the gun, which again is very weird to lead because he'd expect us to see that a lot. So again, I think ace 3 is more likely than ace queen. But what are we getting to call us? Do we think ace 10 will call us?
Right.
Yeah, maybe. Exactly ace 10 or ace jack, I think, are the only hands we get value from. And we lose to pocket 3s. We lose to ace 3. We lose to somehow ace 5 if it had like diamonds or hearts or whatever. Well, it can't have hearts. If he had ace 5 of diamonds or something.
Right.
Which also had the backdoor equity on the flop. But yeah, no, I'm just calling. I'm not raising here. I think it's 210. It's a short answer.
So I opt to stick in the call here, and Villain turns over a hand that you actually basically said, Queen 10. Not quite Queen 9, but yeah, that's interesting that you said that, because yeah, on a board like this, I'd be a little bit more understanding if there were 2 diamonds, but Rainbow, Ace, Queen 3, under the gun versus Big Blind, you decide to donk lead into me? What are we doing here?
But yeah, this is a great podcast. Thanks again for Sam coming on. We have an amazing guest next week. Excited to release who that is, and excited to release the plans that I've got going on both with poker flops as well as outside of that. Made some absolutely incredible connections down here in Florida. Excited to show you guys what's going on soon. But thanks for tuning in. Appreciate especially the live viewers and you guys interacting us within the chat. Makes it way better. Thank you guys so much. Please smash the like and subscribe button and share it with your friends. That's how we're going to get to 1K subscribers this year. And yeah, appreciate you guys. Any closing words, Ryan?
No, that's it for me, guys. We'll see you next week.
I've seen